What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Play It Out podcast, a competitive-focused Age of Sigmar podcast. My name is Kyle, aka Creator Gator, and I'm here as always with my friend James. James, how are you doing?
Good, dude. We got some new toys in the gun.
Have so many new toys.
I'm excited.
It's a little insane with how many new toys.
These are not my toys, and I'm excited about these toys.
I'm happy to see the amount of people that have kind of come out of the woodwork and said, yeah, I've hated on Stormcast for the past 3 years, but actually these guys look pretty dope.
They're kind of hot.
They're kind of hot, though.
Ooh, reclusive.
Yeah. So we're basically going to tell you what's in the box. Multiple people have. So we're going to kind of going to go through that relatively quickly. And we'll kind of do a summary at the end. But the box is called Skaventide. Mm-hmm. It's a massive box.
Above average box.
Yeah. It's one of the biggest boxes I think I've seen. You know what I mean? Like the Leviathan or the 40K one for 10th was pretty big.
Pretty big box.
But I think this beats it just for sheer amount of plastic and bookage that we get in it. It's kind of insane.
Weigh it. Somebody weigh them.
Somebody weigh them.
Somebody weigh them and tell me.
The book did a heavy lifting with the weight count, but the book in Dominion, like the Dominion box itself, was heavy.
Hefty. Yeah, but listen, all I'm saying is in this one we're getting Tony 2 books, so...
I know, right? So let's talk about it. So we'll start with Stormcast. So they get a total of 24 models. So you get 10 Liberators, which we've already seen. They look great. 3 Reclusians, plus their 2 Memorians. They look great. The 3 Prosecutors, which we've already seen, looking good. Then these are all ones that we have not seen before, and we saw for the first time this Friday. So we get 1 Lord Vigilant on Griftstalker, which is dope. I love
real cool.
Yeah, I always love like Stormcast on thing. I also like there's like a little bit of lore where he's kind of like the Lord Vigilant, because there's something special about his Griftstalker where it siphons life from other things and then feeds it to the Lord Vigilant. That's why he's vigilant.
Death bird. He's a death. It's a death bird.
It's a death bird. That's why he's vigilant and like keeping watch over the Reclusians. He's like the most conscious of all the Reclusians, which is another or the Ruination Chamber, which is one of the reasons why he doesn't have a memorandum with him. Then it goes into the Lord Terminus plus his little Memorian. Yeah. His lore was dope. Sigmar confirmed to be pro euthanasia.
Yeah. Big axe on that guy.
He's got a massive axe, which is dope. I'm so excited to see his rules. And
I can't wait until that axe sucks.
Oh my gosh. In before 3 attacks, 3s, -1, 2 damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's gonna be super.
No, please don't do this to me. But the lore is basically when people in the Stormcast and the Ruination Chamber get to a certain point in their life and they're like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm done.
I'm good.
I'm good. I don't want to be reforged anymore.
Take that box, brother.
He cuts off their head, and we will find out about the lore, where their soul goes. I have questions. Does the soul go to Nagash? Does Sigmar have a special jar that he keeps these specific souls in? You know, I'm very curious. Also, I'm curious of like what the Memorian does with him specifically. So that's going to be interesting. And then the lore, we get the Lord Veritant, which is like the update. So that's the Witch Hunter one, which is dope because the old one, it was cool, but it did not show off the witch hunting aspect of it. And I think this is themed like very well.
Yeah, it looks a really, really cool model.
They also, and like the Griff Crow is cool.
Griff Crow.
Listen,
birds in, dragons out. Bourbon.
Dragons, dumb. We're all about the birds and the crows around here.
Yeah. You like death burbs?
Yeah. I'm very curious. So like the Memorians, we don't know the rules around them. We do know the rules for the Griff Crow because they showed that off in the Spearhead, which we will separate this out and talk about Spearhead in the next podcast because they showed so much stuff for the Spearhead that we feel that it deserves its own talking points. They have, we have a lot of stuff to talk about in there, and we'll talk about all the Spearhead War Scrolls in there too. But basically, the Griff Crow's a token, and it gives him a 5-up ward. And if he fails one, I think if he rolls a 1 on the ward roll, the Grifcrow goes away. Yeah, Grifcrow, the bird dies, and he doesn't have the ward save anymore. And then the last Stormcast model we get is an updated Night Questor, which is kind of funny because we've had like Night Questors. We've had so many different Night Questors. If they ever want to give us a special character, they give us a special character Night Questor.
Yeah,
which is pretty nice. I like their lore. Basically Sigmar summons them and gives them a special task of like, I want you to go get my dry cleaning.
Literally.
You know what I mean?
Retrieve butter.
I forgot 2% milk. Go to the store.
You got it, God. You got it. What is your purpose? To bring butter.
Yeah,
oh my God.
So there's been a bunch of Night Questors in the past, and I really enjoyed this guy's sculpt. He looks really cool. He does kind of look a little Conan-y, so I kind of hope he has an alternate head option. But I do overall, I like the look of all of these Stormcast. My favorite is probably the Night Questor.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had a complaint, my only complaint would be the Lord Vigilant on Grifstalker is dope. But he does look a lot like we have a lot of hero on Griff Charger thing.
Yeah.
I was actually at the game store when this was coming out on Thursday, and I was looking at it and I was like, there's a lot of these guys like on the used model section that look very similar to this guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like in shape and aspect. Obviously the detail is much better, but
yeah, he's also on that same base size. Like I honestly was, I thought this was a bigger bird. I thought this was going to be more like dragon sized. This is kind of like a little smaller. I don't know if is it the same base or is it different?
I think it's the same base.
Base.
That like some of the ones that they squatted are on. So
yeah, I just think that like I mean I definitely IMO. I think the prosecutors, obviously the Reclusians are cool. The prosecutors look dope. I love those wings.
Yeah, the wings are like a real glow up. I didn't like anything with wings in the old Stormcast had a very specific aesthetic of like almost tech, like heaven tech.
Yeah,
and I didn't like it.
Heaven tech.
Yeah,
God computers.
I like this much more, where it's more like elemental. You know what I mean? So.
It's like divine light. Yeah.
Big fan. I'm excited to paint those guys. So
I like it. You want to talk about some stinky rats?
Yes, James. Walk me through this.
All right, so I'll be the rat guy. Kyle's the forever Stormcast guy, and I'm a stinky goblin guy, so I can be a stinky rat guy. I am actually super hyped that the Skaven, like the players, the Skaven community is kind of getting a glow up. They're getting some attention, and they're getting a lot of really cool models, like some new sculpts, right? One thing though is if you are a Skaven collector already, I don't know if you need 40 clan rats. Like the first thing in the box is you're getting 40 clan rats.
Yeah.
You're getting 50 models. 80% of them are clan rats.
I know. I was like, 50 models. That's great. Oh, you get 40 clans. Like, oh.
They did confirm that they're only 2 pieces, though, so it's easy to put them together.
Thank God.
Thank God, because I would hate that. But again, like it's one of those things that like I think it'd be nice, especially if you're looking to get into the army. This is a great way to do it. You know what I mean? You pick up 2 halves of the box. You have 80 clan rats. That's really good for a 2K point army.
100%.
In addition, you get the hot new rat ogres. Like again, Skaven stinky, but those rat ogres are pretty cool. They're pretty cool looking, and they have like a lot of really cool options. So
they definitely fill that like melee trog model that you kind of want.
That like elite like infantry. Yeah. And they're also like, I do like the idea of like the big strong, you know what I mean? And it doesn't look like they're like as mutated as like some of the other ones were. Like they're definitely like, like hobbed together, like as all Skaven is. But like a lot of the ones that I've seen previously, even like proxies, are all kind of like mutated and like gross looking, or you know what I mean? Like these ones are more like, these look like edgy and dark, and like they kind of they hit the nerve, I think. Well,
I was showing my wife all the pictures of them, and I described these guys as Bane rats.
Yeah, they are Bane rats.
They look very much like the animated cartoon of Batman Bane rat.
Yeah. Agreed. Really cool. Like honestly, like I'm not a rat guy. Definitely thinking about it with those ogres in there, Then we have the Worthlock Jezzails, which is the Gat Rat's best friends. We've talked about this before. The shooty boys, the 2 rat shooty boys over the shield.
Yep.
Very cool, good for sniping characters. And then you have like centerpiece model Claw Lord on Gnarl Beast, right? It is crazy how like after like Dominion, and maybe this has happened previously too, but like as soon as I see like Claw Lord on Gnarl Beast, I think
The Gnash Tooth.
The Gnash Tooth. Like, and like immediately I'm like, it's a Gnash Tooth, like a guy on a Gnash Tooth.
Yeah.
But it looks, I love like the look of the Gnaw Beast, I think is a really cool idea for Skaven, because I feel like they haven't had like a cav unit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like a mid-tier cav unit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that would be a really cool, like if like obviously this guy's like main dude, this is a character, this is the leader of your army, right?
Yeah.
And he's a really cool model. Like his like elite armor and stuff like that looks awesome on top of like this like mangled like rat, like, you know.
Yeah, I didn't notice
rat,
that
not talkie rat.
Like in the first, like some of the pictures when I was looking at it, it's like, yeah, he's got a plate, like full plate armor.
Yeah,
which is like,
it's not like hobbled together. It's like a
Yeah.
full plate armor with like a cool glaive and like a little
Yeah.
gun. Like really,
dude, his gun is dope.
Yeah.
I love that thing.
Mhm. It's just like sick. Like it's so Skaven. Like
It's so Skaven.
yeah.
Yep.
But it's one of those things that they did a good job of being like, okay, these are like, again, I'm not a Skaven player. I'm an outward looking in, but like, and please comment below if you're a Skaven enjoyer, what you think about these kinds of things. But like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is a really cool way to like establish like elite levels of Skaven that still brings out the like, oh, like it's plate, but it's like dingy, sharp plate that's painted red, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I would love to see like a squad of 3. You know what I mean? Like a squad of 3 on like the Gnaw Beasts, like Skaven on Gnaw Beasts. It's like 2 dudes. One's got a gun in the back. One's got like a spear in the front. And it's like, you know, that'd be a really cool model. And they honestly, it's one of those things we're going to see more models when the when they inevitably, when the edition comes out and when they get their War Scroll, right? Not War Scroll, the Codex.
Battle Tome.
Yeah, Battle Tome. So yeah, awesome. Really, really cool. You also have the Grey Seer, very indicative, very akin to the Grey Seers we already have. It's a reprint of a model that every Skaven player owns at least 2. Very, very useful. Warblock Engineer, Gat Rat. We're big Gat Rat people here.
Gat Rat people. We love me some Gat Rat.
Yeah, and the last one is the Rattling Warp Blaster, which looks sick. Like, I don't know if it's good. I feel like it's like one of those things like they're like, shooting's going to be really bad, but we're going to give you a big gun.
What if you just rolled a lot of many barrels equal many dice, right? That's how I do
that's
math.
True. Yeah, 4 shots. No, I think it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting. It's not in the it's I think it's going to be good. They do a good job with like especially in Skaven right now, they do a good job of kind of implementing those like warp lightning throwers or whatever they're called. Like they have good artillery, which a lot of people don't, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that kind of falls in a similar vein. And I love the sculpt of it. The rattling gun looks sick.
Yeah. All of the sculpts. I didn't see, the only thing that I've seen people kind of complain about
is 40 clan rats.
Was no, like everyone was like, oh, I don't know. I feel like this is great because it's perfect for someone who's trying to get, like you said, trying to get into Skaven, right? Because like if you think about all of these are all like core models with Jezzails and Rat Ogres and Clan Rats and Grey Seer. You know what I mean?
Like and honestly, you're gonna want 2 Grey Seers. You're gonna want 6 Ogres. You're gonna want 80 Clan Rats. Like there's a lot of the stuff that you can just immediately like you get 2 of these and a couple more things, and you're like well on your way to 2K. You know?
Yeah, the biggest problem if you were trying to get into Skaven was like everything I just listed was like relatively core to the army's aesthetic and was ancient.
Yeah, no.
So like all of even though like a current Skaven player is probably going to look at this and be like, oh, I kind of already have that. You know what I mean? At least they'll have like new stuff, and anybody who's quasi interested in Skaven now have a good build in, which is good.
Agreed. I definitely to tell you, like I was never interested in Skaven before. This definitely is like the kind of hot.
Maybe.
I will say the winner for me though on this side of the box is the Rat Ogres. I love the Rat Ogres, dude.
The Rat Ogres are pretty dope.
Yeah. They also hit that They hit that Trogbane for me. You know, that elite infantry.
I was gonna say, I feel like your opinion is we before this podcast looked through the rules that they showed us for the Spearhead, and they confirmed that the Spearhead stat blocks, so the stat blocks for the weapons and the stat blocks for the profiles, are going to be the same as they are in Spearheads, they are in the main game, minus like they might lose or gain crit, like a crit auto wound or something like that. You know what I mean? Just
Nothing
to
super
balance
critical.
everything out.
Yeah.
But that damage profile is like pretty hot. And the ability that's on the Spearhead gives them potentially more damage. So it's like,
pretty hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I think Skaven's like, I think like, again, it's obviously super easy to be excited for new models, but I think overall, like, I haven't seen a lot of criticism. I've seen a lot of hype, you know, from like a very, very critical fan base.
True. Yeah. I feel like the rats are like an easy win.
Yeah.
I feel like Cruel Boys were very much like everyone was like, that's cool, but it's not like my specific cup of tea. You know what I mean? Like they threw like with the rats, everyone's like, oh my God, I love rats.
The rats have been around forever, you know?
Yeah. Literally. Yeah. I also love that the box is called Skaventide because like Vermintide is a very popular game. It has been, and it's always been based in like the fantasy universe. So I hope I think it's called like Skulls or something like that is Games Workshop's like E3 where they show off their like Warhammer themed video games.
Yeah.
That's coming up at the end of May, I believe. Cool. I would love it if they teased at least a Skaven specific Age of Sigmar Vermintide.
Yeah, because
like it's primed. It's so primed for that. Well, we can talk about it at the end of it, but I'm excited for where the universe is going to go. But not only do we get a shit ton of models, but we're getting a lot of books. So we're obviously getting the core rules, which is hardcover, 272 pages. It's going to have everything you want in it as far as like core rules, advanced rules, Path to Glory, all the lore for the universe, as well as like a little bit of lore for each faction. This one was interesting. We get the Spearhead Fire and Jade book, which is 144 pages, hardcover, and it has the rules for all of the Spearhead so it has the rules for all the Spearhead factions, as well as like how to play and everything like that, which is, I did not expect that, and I didn't expect it to be hardcover.
Yeah, that's awesome. That means like they're hard buying in.
Yeah, the whole theme of this thing is like I've gone through all of the content they released, including the playthrough, as well as like a lot of different content creators for Age of Sigmar, all of their stuff and reactions to this kind of thing. And the general consensus is, holy shit, they're like really buying into this Spearhead thing.
Yeah.
Like they put time, they put money, they're putting it in your face as many like times as they physically can.
Yeah.
They're trying to get you to play Spearhead, which I love because I'm a Spearhead enjoyer. Like I love that concept.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, like you can like it a lot to like when we first started this hobby, we got into this hobby with Warcry, right? Or like I got into this hobby with Warcry. You were kind of already in AOS.
Yeah, I think I like got a Dominion box. You know, that was my intro, but that's where I wanted to kind of stop, honestly.
But we got into Warcry, and like the biggest value statement for Warcry is like, listen, if you have a 2K army, you have like 7 warbands. You know what I mean? Like legitimately.
You have like infinite combos.
Yeah, exactly. And this is like a little more like Warcry is super fun, and you still enjoy Warcry. I still enjoy Warcry, but this is a little more like you get a little bit more teeth than Warcry. They get a little more models, you know. And it doesn't feel like a skirmish game. It feels like a small like war tabletop game.
100%. It's definitely walking that line between skirmish and war game, and like it's. We'll talk a lot more about it when we have the whole like Spearhead podcast, but I think they're doing a really good job with it. And from what I've seen of like, because this was this weekend is when the NDA is listed about like all the content creators who got to play it ahead of time and like get like a game in and see how it plays. And everyone's like, I love it. Yeah, I like it. I almost like it more than the 2K version. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's perfect because it gets people in, it gets people playing, and like we've already talked about, sometimes we don't want to play a 3-hour game.
No, sometimes, I mean, to be honest, like I'm very into I buy a box, I play the game. And like this is like the perfect intro to be like, oh, do you want to try the hobby? Well, I just myself purchased another Vanguard box because I specifically want to be able to play like at my home. If I want to play a game of Spearhead, me and my wife can do it, or me and a couple of my friends can like, you know, crank out a couple rounds, you know. It's great.
100%. So like I'm excited. They mentioned that this Fire and Jade like all the rules will be like I assume like the 144 pages. That's not all rules. You know what I mean?
No.
So like all the rules for each faction and how to play Spearhead will be available online for free after this box comes out. So I love that. I love that they're giving me the hardcover version, because that would be something that I would want. But I'm glad they're giving everyone the free version so that everyone can physically play.
Yeah.
The other thing they're giving us is the general handbook, which is cards. Crazy.
Tarot cards, baby.
Yeah. I don't know if they're actually going to be tarot cards, because like all of the things that they were talking about, I'm like, what size is that? I'm like looking at hand sizes and I'm like trying to figure out like what size is that card that the guy's putting down. We have some pictures of them later on in here, but yeah, it's
spoiler section of the podcast coming up.
Yeah, it's 17 total cards, which is dope. And they basically have your battle plans, and they have a card that is like your battle tactics, and just like stuff that you would, and the seasonal rules are on one card, so it's very easy and like to put down on the board and understand what's going on, which is perfect. They also mentioned that the General's Handbook as a book will be available for purchase like later down the line.
Yeah.
So if you like, I like this because I'd rather have the cards, but if you want to have the little book that has all the core rules in it, so for like reference, which is great, it's available.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other one is the Spearhead deck. So it's the deck of cards with the twists and the tactics and the commands that go along with the Spearhead. Love it. They're giving us the double-sided game board for Gairan and Akshi, which is perfect. I'm a big fan of that. We got to see a bunch of pictures of it, and it's exactly what I wanted. With like not only I was so worried that they would just put the objective tokens on the board.
Yeah, that'd be a pain in the ass.
But they made it like the whole circle, and I'm like, thank God.
Good.
Thank God. That way I don't have to measure. I can just know that I'm on it.
Yeah.
Perfect. And they're also giving us 4 terrain pieces, which are plastic, too large, too small, which is kind of crazy because I don't think there's been... I'm trying to think of other edition launch boxes that have had terrain. I know they've added them in the past, but I appreciate that they're giving it to us in this one.
Yeah.
And the last thing that they said is range rulers. So they're a little like, you have a 3-inch and you have a 6-inch, and then you can connect those together. Now they haven't confirmed. They showed us pictures of them, but they have not confirmed that there's 2 sets of them. Because they said 2 range rulers, but then they said there's a 3-inch piece and a 6-inch piece.
Yeah.
So I really hope they give us 2.
Yeah.
Like a 3 and a 3, and then a 6 and a 6. Because otherwise it's gonna be like, hey, can I we're gonna be handing me that stick back and forth. Yeah. Which is gonna not be fun. But overall, like I love that they're including all of this stuff in these boxes. Yeah.
Because it's like not only are they launching like AOS 4, but like they're doing a really hard launch for Spearhead, which is awesome. You know, because you're really getting like, it's going to be an expensive box. I think they said it's going to be like 200 and like.
I was just going to tell you. I was like, okay, so we reviewed it. Now, what would I tell you if it was $265?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So it's like, it's an expensive box, but you're getting like what was the launch? It was like 180. What was the Dominion box when it came out? 225. 200.
Just 200.
Okay, so like it's $60 more, and you're getting another game.
Yeah,
you know, like you're getting everything to play the other game. Like, I'm not super upset about that. In addition, you're getting like the General's Handbook. Like,
yes, which is like a $40 to $50 purchase, which I would have been made. I would have been.
You make that anyway. You always buy that 100%.
Personally,
if you want to play the competitive game, which I would say most people do, you know, like, or at least half people, you know. I would say that, like, I mean, the value statement's there. Like, if you're gonna buy the Dominion box for $200, you're getting a the $40 value at least, and then another game for $25, like, and everything to play that game. So
I will say that it does reduce my willingness to buy multiple. So in the past, I was like, I started 40K 9th edition, so I bought 3 Indominus boxes because they were cheap. They were cheap at the time, and I could get them on sale, which was nice. But I was starting from scratch, so it's like, oh, I have 2 armies now that I can play with, and just add here and there. You know what I mean? So I did the same thing with 3rd edition of Age of Sigmar, where I went in and mostly bought 3
Dominion boxes.
Yeah, Dominion boxes were super on sale, which saved me a lot of money and just like built up my collection. And then like I had 2 Age of Sigmar armies just right out of the get. I don't think I'm going to do that with this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a lot of money tied into the rules, the spearhead, the handbook, the boards, like, and not that I don't love that. I'm 100% going to pre-order it first, but I don't think I'm going to get multiple. What I probably will do is I probably will split the box, like the second box, with another person that wants the rats, and I'll get more. Like, I want to reinforce unit of Reclusians because they're probably going to be
really good. You're going to get reinforced prosecutors. You're going to get another squad of 10 libs, like the new libs.
Yeah.
Like you're going to get a lot of value out of the box. It's just like, you're like, oh, you don't want 2 full like armies. You want like another spearhead. Like if you keep the rats in the first box, you get a spearhead, which is nice.
Yeah. I've considered like buying, like trying to go to a Skaven player and be like, hey, if we each buy a box and then we give each other the models, but then I kind of want the rat spearhead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to have on hand.
I think you're going to be able to get rid of that rat spearhead. To be completely honest.
If I ever want to get rid of it, I probably can.
Yeah. I can tell you confidently. I know some people that will buy it off you. And if they won't, I will probably buy it off of you.
Yeah. Are you going to get a box?
I don't know. I'm like kind of thinking about it. I kind of just want the rules. Like that's my big thing is like, I don't play either of these armies. So it's like, I'm kind of just in it for like the books, maybe the like stuff, like definitely like the books, the cards, because I want the spearhead stuff. And then but I don't really like, I don't have any interest in really like Stormcast is really cool. I have no interest in playing Stormcast.
Yeah.
Skaven is cool. Don't really have any interest. Like I just don't like horde armies,
Yeah.
So I like, they're cool models. I like the models a lot, but I just don't think that like the play fits my play style,
Yeah. The and I think there's going to be there's going to be people who are starting this game.
Yeah.
With this edition, and I think you're going to be able to find all of the books on eBay very
quickly.
Easily.
100%. Yeah.
Because like once you have one spearhead book, or once you have one, I had 3 general handbooks.
You
know what I mean? I'm like, what am I supposed? I gave one to you, and then like I think I gave one to another friend. So it's just like, what am I supposed to do with like these books that are going to take up space in my
like as much as I want to be a part of like the you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want, like I'm essentially like, okay, can I like, I will like pay someone for like one block of the literature. You know what I mean? Like
I also think, and they haven't confirmed this at all, but I don't see a world where they don't include the spearhead, fire and jade, the boards, the terrain, and then the cards in one like probably too overpriced of a package
box.
of a box.
But it's like I honestly think I'm going to be able to pick it up. Like I'm like exactly what you said, where it's like there's going to be people that buy 3 of these boxes or 4 of these boxes, and then it's like they're like, I don't need another book. I'm just going to sell it, and then like I'll pick it up online somewhere.
Yeah, 100%. I think you're going to be able to find the books very easily.
Give me that literature, baby.
Exactly. I want one of each. I just only want one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I'll find. I might even just like, because I don't really want more prosecutors. Yeah. I also don't really care about having multiple copies of the heroes, and like I already have 10 liberators.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that there's going to be a flurry of stuff. Yeah. So it's like, if you want, I mean, you can always get one, you know what I mean? But like, and then just buy the Reclusians later. Like if that's the only thing you want reinforced.
Yeah. The prosecutors aren't doing it for me rule wise. They kind of stinky. No, they have 2 wounds, 3 up save, which is nice, but 3 attacks each, so 9 total of attacks for 1 damage. So 9 total damage
attacks.
They're only 1 damage with 1 rend. Yeah.
How many points are they? Are they fast?
I don't know. They're fast. They move. They're 12-inch move with fly.
Can they like?
And they have a shooting. They have a D3 shooting attack.
Can they uppy downy?
No. They roll 3d6 on the charge. That's basically their thing.
Yeah, but they suck.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I don't know what I want to charge into if they're that small. We'll talk like fully about that, because again, we've only seen the war scrolls for the spearhead.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that in the spearhead stuff. But overall, great box.
Great box.
The art looks dope. I love them. That's called Skaventide. I love the dude on the front. I love that we get to see his head. You know what I mean? As dumb as that is, I think people like if you show them the Stormcast helmet, it's like people just start hating it. So like the more like actual like human head you can show,
it's
the better reaction people will have.
But yeah, so do you want to move into the spice? Yeah. So spoiler section.
Yeah. So like I said, I watched everything because I can't control myself. I watched all of the videos they posted on their YouTube channel. I watched all of their live stream. I watched multiple content creators. And then after I watched that all, this morning I went through and looked through all their B-roll and grabbed things in their B-roll that I was like, that's new.
That's not new. Announced.
That's not an announced thing, but that's new. And everyone's talking about the models right now. So like nobody's talking about something like the battle tactics.
Yeah,
which they just showed us all of them.
Yeah, we get all the general battle tactics. So boom, look at the picture.
So tell me about them, James.
Yeah, so basically we have the order battle tactics, right? So every Grand Alliance is going to get 2, right? We had Reclaim the Realms already as like leaked in the article. Now we have Slay the Tyrant. Right, that's the other order one. Right, you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if an enemy hero was slain this turn in combat by a friendly unit.
Kill a hero.
Kill a hero in combat, not shooting. Kill a hero.
Fair. Kill a hero,
but not hard. I thought you were going to get. We thought that like everybody got like
a good one and a bad one,
and then people were going to get a bad one. You just got 2 good ones. Kind of hot.
Take it.
Kind of hot. So that's pretty good. In addition, you get you have this little funny card here with a person. Weirdly, it looks like a PNG of a person's hand holding these cards.
It might just be the snap that I used. It was also probably in motion because I tried to time the thumb over the 2 that we knew what they were.
Yes, that's smart because they did
again B-roll.
Seize the center and I can't remember what the other one was, but those 2 we already knew.
Take the flank.
It's like shortboard edge, right? Yep. So new ones, do not waver. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if 2 or more friendly units fought this turn and no friendly units were destroyed, right? So like if you run to do like 2 squads of your chaff into like their chaff, and
probably not going to kill it.
Probably not going to kill it. May not kill
even
with
if they
1.
fight first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like not a hard battle tactic.
No.
Take the land. We've seen this before. Pick a terrain feature wholly or partially within your enemy's territory or wholly outside the friendly territory. You complete this battle tactic if you control that terrain feature at the end of your turn. Go stand on terrain.
That's actually kind of crazy because the map that they showed us, the big terrain features that are in the middle, they're not in the middle. They're like catty corner, but they're touching the line.
Yeah.
So that's already there. Yeah. It's like you can pick one. If I'm reading this correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you could pick the one that's mostly in yours, but toe touching over the line.
It can't be in yours. It has to be partially. It can be wholly or partially within enemy territory, or wholly outside, and wholly outside yours.
And wholly outside.
It has to be outside.
Okay.
Yours. Yes.
Okay.
So it can be, but it can be like it doesn't have to be in enemy territory. It can be half in enemy territory.
Okay. I forgot the neutral territory thing exists.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fine.
But yes, so it's still like there are caveats, right? It's not an auto, some depending on the map, but it's not hard. Go stand on stuff is not hard.
Nope. Especially since I'm pretty sure. I mean, we haven't seen the rule for this, but I'm pretty sure controlling territory is 3 inches.
Yeah.
So,
so
not hard.
Yeah. Slay the entourage. Already saw this one. Kill something in the entourage of the general. Great. Easy. And then attack on 2 fronts. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you control 2 or more objectives that you did not control at the start of your turn, and at least one of those objectives was controlled by an opponent. So this is there's a lot of caveats, but it's really not that hard. It's just gain control of 2 objectives. One can be not controlled by anyone, and the other one is like your opponent controlled it before you. Easy, A lot of times, if you do this late game, you're going to be taking them from your opponent anyway.
Yeah, especially when it comes to like 5 objective missions where it's like the battle is always over that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just going to keep going back and forth, and you just have to put 2 more guys on it,
Yeah. The only thing is this gets kind of funky because a lot of the underdog mechanics are turn off an objective.
Yeah. But I think it's still going to count, like even if it's off, Yeah.
It's off, but you still control it. So when it
Yes.
turns back on, it's yours again.
Yes.
Yeah. So they just have to make.
I don't even think it's when it's on, because a lot of times like battle, like your like my specific gets ones are like you get onto an objective that an opponent was like, even if it's destroyed, it's technically still there. You know what I mean? So it's like,
unless the thing says remove it from the battlefield.
Exactly. Yeah. If it says remove it, then you have to remove it. But if it says like, it's like all like it like in like the control point ones, I can't remember what it's called, but the power flux where it's shifting, like, or Nexus, not Nexus, but the one where it like
moves down the line,
like that still works.
Yeah.
So not hard. None of these are hard.
Yeah.
Like literally none of these are hard. None of these none of these are like kill something with magic.
Yeah.
You just don't have that. You can't do it. Yeah.
I love that do not waver an attack on two fronts. It feels like they are updated or updated versions of things that we've already familiar with.
Yeah, like lead.
Yeah. Like do not waver is basically lead, but without the stipulations of
you
like
survive or something.
They have to survive. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
The end turn if two or more friendly units fought. Yeah, you just gotta fight.
And you can't lose anybody. So like if they die, you still get it. If they don't die, you still get it. You know, as long as nobody died. Yeah.
So much better. With just a minor correction to our previous battle tactic conversation, and something that we corrected when we were talking about it, is the fight act. You can still do the fight action if you charged. If you charged and the thing that you charged died.
Yes.
So like in the example for the destruction one, you could charge 3 things into one unit. Yeah, a chaff unit, and then you kill it, and then your other 2 units take the fight action, and then they could get a free 3-inch move anywhere they want to go. We know when they fight, they pile in. So that's actually pretty important, because you don't have to I have to just touch this guy a little bit, and then everybody just touches this guy a little bit. You know what I mean? Make sure we all get that stipulation off. It's all just, hey, take the fight action because you charge, so you get to do that.
It's great.
So
yeah,
I love what's it called? I love that this card gives me the context clues that each Grand Alliance has this card.
Yeah.
So there's going to be an order, a destruction, a chaos, and a thing. That way you're looking at it the whole time. My only complaint is that you'll have to put markers on things that you've done before.
Yeah. You
could have a little token with a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5 on it, and you place it on that says, hey, I did that this turn. So it eliminates it. Very easy to do.
Yeah, or you just keep it in your app. I'm sure that we're going to get
Yeah. Well, I mean, we already use digital stuff that's third party that's super easy. So it's not the worst thing in the world. I just liked one card. I would have a playing size card for each one of these, and that way I could put them in front of me, and as I use them, I put them away.
Yeah.
I turn them over so I don't see them anymore. True. But I love this. This is a massive improvement over the stupid double-sided cardboard things.
Yeah.
The double-sided cardboard things drive me insane.
Yeah,
because bad. I'm I can't look at them all at the same time, and my brain, if I can't see it, it doesn't exist.
It's also who wants to look at a long, thin sentence? I don't know.
Yeah. Just aesthetically pleasing. I like the cards.
Agreed.
So I'm super happy that they're showing us. I'm super happy that we get this in the launch box. I love everything about this. So that moves us on to something that we saw in the B-roll. The B-roll, when they were talking about this. So another card that we get is our season rules 2024, 2025. And they show the almost full page of the Honor Guard rule. So we already know that your Honor Guard is basically a unit that you designate inside your general's regiment. So one of the 4, right? General's regiment exists, and you have 4 units that you can put in there with your general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't know that was a question. I thought that was a statement. And then
no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're good. You're confirming. Yeah. So one of those 4 guys are going to be your Honor Guard.
Yes.
And then at the start of the battle, or in the deployment phase, you get to pick a specific Honor Guard ability. One of the 3. We compare them to Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander. And I believe this one is going to be our Charmander. So this one is called, let me zoom in on it, because it's kind of at a weird angle. Again, I'm pulling it from B-roll from a YouTube video. This one is called Special Assignment. So the declare is pick a friendly unit in your general's regiment that is not your general to be the honor guard. You can pick a unit in reserve, which is nice. If you use this ability, you cannot use any other honor guard abilities. Perfect. Effect, pick one of the following weapon abilities, and that is anti-infantry, +1 rend. So anti-cavalry, anti-monster, anti-war machine, and anti-beast, all plus rend. And then the words on the bottom are kind of fuddled, but it's if your honor guard makes a charge, that unit's melee weapons gets that ability. This has no effect on the companions. So Stormdrake Guard, sorry, your dragons don't get this, but the riders do get +1 rend to whatever target you deem as their special assignment, which is pretty hype.
Pretty hot.
Yeah, I love that, and I love that you can look at your army. Well, I don't know. I love and hate it. I love the fact that you feel like you get some more customization and some more tailoring a little bit. But I also don't like, as an owner of 7 Stegodons, I'd hate for everyone to be like, anti-monster.
More rend, you say?
More rend, you say, against your guys that already have a 4-up save. Easy. Yeah.
Looks like my infantry is now rend 3.
And then
look at us taking away lethality.
Games Workshop. They showed we can see the name of the third one, which is priority target, but we don't see what the benefit of that is.
That's just going to be like +1 to hit, +1 to wound, or something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be something like that. It's going to be pretty substantial. But imagine giving a reinforced unit of Trogs anti whatever you want.
Anti ligma nuts. I'm gonna.
Oh god!
I'm just gonna pick the scariest thing. I mean, a lot of people do it's a lot of times people do they spam something. Like every army, I know that spam. There's greater and lesser versions of spam, but usually an army relies on a mechanic which
low sodium spam.
But a lot of times armies kind of fall under this is a Bladegeist's army because all the characters I brought, all the buff circles I brought, buff Bladegeists. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's you don't bring just Bladegeists, but the big movers and the big hammers / anvils of your army are focused around that. I'm just using Bladegeists as an example. I run a lot of Trogs. Kyle hates them. I don't run a very.
We get rid of that 5-up ward save. I'm
true.
I
don't. If I'm being honest, I don't spam though. If I'm being completely real, I don't take.
You run 2 spiders in every list.
I run 2 spiders. I run a bunch of squigs. We're out here. You know what I mean? We soup. Yeah. But a lot of times, the Allopexes was a huge problem for our people. There are 9 sharks. Anti-cav.
Guard.
I get -1 rend on everything in your army. That's massive. That's a massive problem for people, and it's
it is. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of asterisks. I we
it's
saw
only
the
one unit. Yeah,
it's 1 unit. It's if you charge, and it's your honor guard, so it's specific. But I like this much more. We saw a lot of anti-monster stuff and anti-infantry stuff and anti-hero stuff in the what's-a-who's-its in all the previous
versions,
seasonal stuff, and that was just so punishing.
Oh yeah,
I don't feel like this is punishing that
as much. It's on a far less scale. It's not. It's very strong, but it's only very strong for 1 unit, so it's not oppressive. And you at least know about it. You're oh, that's the thing. Also, it's kind of nice because they put it on their main hammer unit, which puts a flare up and says, "This is my main hammer unit, which is going to come and hit your thing that I just designated as the anti-target." So it gives you a little bit more heads up, which is kind of nice because at least 3rd edition, we don't live in a world of perfect information. I don't know every army. I don't know every unit. I don't know every combo. I know what cavalry looks like though.
Yeah, I know Vanguard are scary.
Yeah,
I know dragons are scary. You know what I mean? I know some things are scary, but there's a lot of stuff. So I'm just I don't know, dude. So it's nice to have this little more clarity of like, this is my thing. It does this thing, and it's going to come at you and do that thing better.
It's more simple.
Yeah. I also like that, like, yeah, it gives it +1 run against that specific type of target, but it's not going to help you clear the screens easier. It's also not going to, like, if you're bringing a hammer unit in your general's thing, it's probably going to do that thing anyway.
Yeah. The whole goal of it is to survive and hit stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably going to hit you anyway. So, yeah, I like this. I'm curious what priority target is going to be. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it's probably just +1 to hit or +1 to wound.
Or both.
That'd be kind of crazy.
That'd be kind of crazy.
I think it's probably just going to be +1 to hit or +1 to wound.
Yeah.
So, but it's for your whole army.
It's really good.
Probably.
Yeah. We want to move on to prayers.
Yes. This actually, they just released this morning, this Friday morning, and they like released it.
Yeah.
They actually released it in just a random video about 3 things they're excited for.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just like kind of a fluff piece, but they showed the actual rule for prayers, and I'm
Which
like,
is nice because like I remember we did the video on like, or we did like the podcast on like prayers and lores and like what's coming up, and like we had a lot of questions about like how this like builder like how like chanting is working now, right? Because it's like it's not like you roll like you do with, it's not like small lore, like not small spells where you're rolling 1d6 instead of 2d6. You're like rolling to build up points to spend on an effect, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it is confirmed in this, right? So the declare step, you declare, you say, hey, this guy's making a chanting roll of a d6, right? On an unmodified casting roll of 1, the prayer fails. Its effect is not resolved. You remove D3 ritual points, which ritual points is that what you're building, and that priest using a prayer. But on a 2+, right, you add the number of ritual points that you roll on the dice to your priest to add to the chanting roll to accumulate more ritual points, right? That can go above 6 because it's like if you hold it for multiple turns. Add the priest's ritual points to that chanting roll. If the chanting roll exceeds the prayer value's chanting roll in the top right corner of the prayer, it is answered and the effect is resolved. And then that priest ritual power is dropped down to 0, right? So it's one of those things that now we have, like the question was essentially, is the ritual essentially something they're building slowly throughout the game and they just get better and better at it and they get increasing value out of the prayer as the game moves on? Or is it, I'm filling up my battery and then I spend my battery, and then I'm filling up my battery and then I spend my battery. If I'm twerking for Jesus, what am I getting?
It was the biggest question was, how do I spend these ritual points on the thing? And it was either going to be very good or it was going to be kind of bad. And this, unfortunately, I believe is the kind of bad version. Honestly,
it's just like one of those things where you kind of have to choose of like, because again, the one prayer that we've seen was from the corn priest, and it's like there were like 2 effects, right? And it's like, do you want to potentially risk your priest and like save like your ritual power for next time to get a better effect, or is it like, like you really need to hit him now, like use the lesser effect and like make sure the priest gets it off instead of getting killed next turn, like. I would have liked the idea of like it builds and like slowly gets better, and then it's like, your priests just get better throughout the game, so like it demands aggro, like you have to deal with it or it's going to be a problem.
I like the simplicity of this, but I think going down to 0 regardless is difficult, or like I think it's rough, like because it doesn't say you just like say I roll a 2 and I needed a 3, but I have 4 ritual points saved up, right? If I choose to use my ritual points to add to that roll and succeed, it's not like, the gods don't have change.
No, you don't get
like you hand them a 20 and they're like, sorry, pal, I ain't got change. And then they just take your 20.
That's so funny.
So it goes down to 0, and then, you got the thing off, but you wasted some ritual points. So I like, it's simple, but it's also like kind of punishing if you don't do it correctly.
Agreed. Like it can feel punishing. I also don't love that I now have to track this as well. Like it's like a builder spender that I have to now track. Not that I use priests, but like it's kind of annoying that I'm like, okay, now I have to like, it's not just like a roll and then I'm done. It's like a roll and then I'm like, okay, now he has 8 and the effect I really want is at 10. So I guess I'll just put this little thing next to him. And then it's like, he used like, can you imagine if you had like 4 priests? You're like, okay, he used this many, he used that many. Yeah.
People were like, I remember one of the big questions that people had, which I never interpreted it this way. They're like, are you going to have to track each individual points for each individual priest? And I'm like, yeah, that's what it says. It's always, it says that. It says from the priest using the prayer. You know what I mean? Like, give a number of ritual points to the priest. Like, it doesn't say to your priest pool.
No.
It says, like, that priest. So you do have to have, like, a tracker that says how many ritual points that guy has.
Yeah.
And other people were like, oh, you have to track ritual points per prayer. As in, like, each prayer can only be spent on specific ritual points. I'm like, no, it's just,
it's like
he has ritual points.
It's a holy battery. You know?
It's a holy battery, and that you're just building it up, and then just connecting it to a really big cable and zooping it all down at once.
Ligmar, help me please.
Help me please. Yeah.
It's cool. I'm glad that we got clarification, but it definitely is like of the two things it could have been, this is not as spicy in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that you roll it, you see what it is, and then you can choose one of the two paths.
Yeah, it is nice.
I almost wish I like that this is, again, 3.0 prayers. It's going to be numbered. I love that. I almost wish they had a choose your path kind of thing, because, like, for some reason, my brain is looking at this and I'm like, that's a lot of words. There's a lot of bold things. There's a lot of priests, ritual points, answered.
Somebody draw me a picture.
I need a picture. Someone draw me a picture how I need to twerk for Jesus.
I cannot do this.
True. But yeah, our questions are answered now. So now we understand. Hopefully this gives them opportunities to make prayers that are very strong if they're like around the 8 or like anything that's 7 or up. Better be really strong.
Oh yeah, because it's going to take at least 2 turns to get, and maybe
it's going to take 2 turns to get, and then like after you get that, you don't have any. There's no reload. So
you got to wait 2 turns again. Yeah.
Yep. You got to wait 2. The game only is 5.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But in that same little like top 3 things we love about Sigmar,
we're so cool.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Little fluff pieces. They showed us the lore of the storm for spell lore, and nothing said that this is a Stormcast thing, but I'm telling you it's a Stormcast thing. Specifically because these are all spells that I have seen and used before. So
I notice.
Yeah, exactly. So they gave us Lore of the Storm. So it has 3 spells: Lightning Blast, Thundershock, and Starfall. The first one, Lightning Blast, it goes off in a 5. You pick there it is, Stormcast Eternal's Wizard. I'm dumb. Pick a Stormcast Eternal Wizard to cast a spell.
Who's to say if it's the Stormcast Eternal? Exactly, Games Workshop. The words in the article.
Exactly. Then you pick the closest visible enemy unit to them that has not been picked to be the target of this ability, which is good. Then if 2 or more are equally tied to be the closest, you get to pick which one, and then you make a casting roll 2d6, inflict d3 mortal damage on the target. Very easy. You know what I mean? It goes off in a 5. It's very easy to do. The nice thing is it's like a little bit of d3 damage, like from infinite distance away, because it's just whatever the closest is. That's the caveat is. This is a spell that already exists in Stormcast. The trade-off is you don't get to rarely pick the target, but you do get to do it every turn infinitely. You know what I mean? I like this verbiage that has not been picked to be the target of this ability this turn to be the target, because anything with that comment, that's changing. I know they squatted a lot of models that used to do the comet banner thing, right? But like that was the thing where you brought a bunch of these guys and then you're just like D3 mortal wounds. Yeah. Oh, that one's dead. All right, next one.
Just like Lord Crocum.
Yeah, I don't like that.
You cook them down.
Yeah, I don't think that's a fun game interaction for the person who's just standing.
It's called non-engagement. It sucks.
Yeah. But yeah, spell and unlimited. Oh, that's cool. Nice. Just lightning, like literally, if your guys are just sitting there and they don't have anything else to do, just lightning blast. Just start lightning blasting. That's another reason they said like you can't, unlimitedly.
It's also nice that there's no range. It's just visible, closest visible.
Yeah, it's just damage. And then it's nice that it's like, hey, if you have a line of unit, do 1, and then the next closest thing might be a hero.
That's
so you could, if you have 3 wizards, you can't pick the same target more than once. So it's like your chaff unit, and then your hero, and then something else. So cool. Next one is Thundershock. It goes off on a 6. You pick a friendly Stormcast Eternal's Wizard to cast a spell. Pick a visible enemy target within 12 of them, and make a casting roll of 2d6. And the effect is subtract 1 from wound rolls for the target's attack until the start of your next turn. So that's pretty cool. A little defensive thing. That's kind of how Thundershock works. I think it used to be 18. I think 12 is pretty
Small.
close. But yeah, something that we never used very much, but we might use now that it's in a spell lore card. Just nice.
Nice to soft something up before you charge it.
Well, yeah, it's like defensive. So you cast it on an enemy, and then they hit you worse.
Yeah, but I'm saying is like if you want to like run into somebody's hammer, you can be like, you suck. Or in somebody else's turn, they get close enough to charge you, and then you're like, I'm going to do that to you in your turn.
Yeah, that's actually huge. That's massive, especially if they pick the battle tactic that says, my battle tactic is to kill a thing. I'm going to try to kill your thing. And then they move, like, they get there and you're like, actually, no, you don't. Yeah.
Did you save the unbind? Because if you didn't.
Yep. Yeah. This game is going to be very much, the rules are simple. It's how you use them that is going to be very defined on if you win or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just nice. I like that. And then the third one is Starfall. Goes off on a 7, so it's the most expensive one, or the hardest one to do. So you pick a friendly Stormcast Eternals wizard to cast a spell. Then you pick a visible enemy infantry or cavalry unit within 18. And then make a casting roll of 2d6 until the start of your next turn. Subtract 1 from the number of dice rolled when making charge rolls for the target to a minimum of 1.
Yikes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Actually, that's way better. Like, as we were talking about the, like, unleash spell, you know what I mean? Like, that guy sets his stuff up and he's like, all right, I got to kill your thing. And you're like, what if you just can't make it because it's 7 inches and you can't
D6.
get there on 1d6?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah. That is crazy.
A 3-inch charge is not confirmed.
Yeah, literally a 3-inch, like a 3-inch charge makes that like, ones and twos are
66% chance of going off.
Yeah, crazy. That's awesome. I love that. All of these have existed in 3rd edition. This one was like, I think you halved their roll for advances and charges. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like, fine,
it's like good, but not great.
Yeah, it was fine. It was just like I think this is the built-in spell on the Knight Incantor. I tried to use it once and it got dispelled. So I was like,
good for me.
Okay. I tried.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's one of those things like, even if like they get within 3 and you're halving it, you know what I mean? They still only have to roll a 6.
Yeah, which is just more than likely.
Yeah,
I mean, it's more likely to roll a 3 on a d6 as well. A 3 up on a d6 as well. Like, I think the math's actually roughly the same.
Yeah, true. But it gets like way better. Like, obviously, like if they're at 7, they just can't.
Oh yeah,
unless they have pluses.
That is better. That is better. Yeah.
So I like that. I'm glad that they showed us like a spell lore card. This is how I expected the spell lores to look like. So I'm happy. And I like that there's one at each value.
Yeah.
There's 5, a 6, and a 7. So you get a little bit of choice. I like that Lightning Blast is unlimited. Blast.
Anyway, I started blasting.
Yeah. So that is all I have for the total.
Yeah, overall, like really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I know we're like more of a rules people and less of like model people. We are like model enjoyers. I like painting. But it definitely, thinking about the game and playing the game is much more time than that we like to do than actually like
the hobby
painting and building.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A hobbyist.
Next we will next podcast we'll have a lot more to talk about when it comes to specific rules, because they showed a lot of War Scrolls.
Oh yeah.
But they're all Spearhead related. And although they're very similar, we'll talk about that in the Spearhead podcast, which will be coming up later on next week. So
get hyped.
We're excited about it. Are there any final thoughts you want to give on the Skaventide launch box?
No, dude, it looks good. I'm excited.
Looks good.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy at least one.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. You know what I mean? So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for coming around. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to you guys next time.
See you, gang.
Peace.